Hello folks, I'm getting ready to show you how to trim and how to foot your pots. You have one wheel requirement where you must foot. You can foot more than one, you can make more than one, but you have to foot or trim upside down at least once. The step I'm going to show you first is just trimming with it still on the bat. So when I'm talking about footing, I'm talking about once your pot is removed from the bat, flipped upside down, and then you carve a ring on the bottom of the pot. So first I want you to just pay very close attention to this shape of the pot right there, and I need to think about what's happening inside and what's happening outside so that they match. And I'm going to start by just trimming that. This is a turning tool. That's the wooden tool, or the wooden handled tool, and this should be in your buckets. And you hold that, brace that. You can actually brace the handle on the wheel, the bowl of the wheel, and you just kind of think about shaving away any excess on the pot. So already I've trimmed away. You can see it's dark right there. I trimmed away an inch extra right there. I strongly recommend you do this before you cut your pot off the bat. Even if you're not going to foot, still trim. I'm still trimming away here. I'm staying stable. The pot is coming to me. It just rotates around there. So I'm trimming all of that off. I can start up on the body of the pot and slowly come down. Again, I'm staying braced. And I'm doing this when the pot is moving toward leather hard. It's still stuck to the bat, but it's not solid and it's not sticky. If you go like this and you get clay on your fingers, it's too wet. If it's dark but shiny, it's too wet. It should be dark but not shiny. Okay, once you get to this point, then you should cut that off. You want to use a wire, which I've got my wire in my bucket here. So I need my cutoff wire. Okay, it's got the two, it's got the wire and the two wooden toggles. But before I do that, I want to take a needle, and if you don't do this properly, you're going to really booger up the bottom of your pots. Not a technical term, just the way I describe it. So I've shaped that some. Then I'm going to take my needle and I make a groove just right underneath there. And then the next step you can do either with the wheel moving or not, but if it's moving, you don't want it moving very fast. Then I take my wire and I wrap it around over here. I've wrapped it around one hand, I just have it there, and I'm going to put it underneath the pot, and I have to keep my fingers right on top so I keep that taut, and really I just pull with one side. If you try and pull with both, it's a little bit harder sometimes. Okay, so that's all I need to do for this step, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to foot that. I'm going to show you one other way to trim though. I'm going to show you that on this pot. And then I'll show you separately how to foot them. Okay, so this is going to be 3 separate, shorter videos, I think. I could change my mind. I do that. You know that. Okay, so now I'm going to take this wedged wooden tool, and with the angled part up against the pot, I slowly come down until I come down all the way down to the bat, and I see the ring of bat all the way around there. And then I take my needle and I go around and I stop my wheel. I cut that ring that I trimmed. And you can do this with the turning tool as well. But again, pay attention to the shape of the pot and how removing that excess makes it look like a much more finished, much more professional pot. Excuse me, my goodness. Okay. Get all those little guys off. Again, this should be on close, pretty close to leather hard at this point. The top may be a little bit drier. I did use the hair dryer a little bit. It was just a little bit wetter than ideal, and I was ready to go. So you can dry them a little bit. Just be careful you don't get the top too dry, because if you do, when you flip it over, you're going to end up cracking that lip. So you don't want the lip of your pot really fragile, but you also don't want it too thick. So again, I recommend making that groove and then taking your wire, again keeping it tight between your fingers, get it in that groove, and pull from just one side. And notice I was kind of bracing against the pot so that it didn't come off. Okay. And then I should have a pretty clean bottom there. It's a little bit too thin to really foot ideally, but I'm going to go with it because it's for my demo. Alright, so that's it for trimming and cutting off. Now I need to go into the footing.